Alrighty, let's wait for a couple people to join up and then we'll get everything going. Let's do this. All right, so want to make sure everything's good here. Okay, everything seems to be working. We're gonna get a couple of things in first. We'll get it all going. All right, let's wait 2 more minutes. Let's wait for a couple more people to join up so that way they don't get a chance to miss anything, and then we'll get it all going. And we'll have a good webinar. All right, happy Friday, everybody. It is about time. It's Friday. Okay. Let's see here. All right, let's give it 1 more minute, and then I'll go ahead and start everything. Okay. All right, we got a couple people here. Can you guys hear me okay in the chat? If you guys can let me know, that would be perfect. Everything should be good though. Let me switch over to this and get this going. Let's do this. All right, so before we get started, hopefully you guys have been having a good Friday so far and are looking forward to getting into the weekend. I know I'm very excited, but Um, thank you guys for joining up and taking time out of your guys' day. Thank you, Harris, for letting me know that it is good. Yes, Harrison, welcome in. All right, perfect. The audio is good. Nice. Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys for coming in. This is going to be a very, very good one, just so you guys are able to know, how exactly you can nurture leads with not only voice AI, but also SMS and email tied to the voice AI. So we're going to get very creative here, and I'm going to show you guys step by step on how to make this possible. So the first thing I want to do is, of course, go over the document that I've created for you guys so that way you guys are able to have that. This is the document that I usually make. Let's go ahead and get that over for you guys over here in the chat. So this document is going to contain anything related to this webinar. So the meeting recording, if you guys are looking for help, it has links here that you guys can get help. My YouTube content, so you guys can basically see everything for YouTube as well, which has all the extra information that you guys may need. You guys have seen my face a couple of times, so definitely keep seeing my face in YouTube. That's where I do like the very good quality content as well. Just keep that in mind. These webinars are mainly for like breakdowns with you guys as well, so they're super good for learning and understanding Synthflow and how to use Synthflow. So let's get straight onto it. The main topic that we're going to be discussing today is going to be how to combine voice AI with SMS and email for multi-channel nurturing. All right. A very good thing to discuss, knowing that a lot of you guys need this and a lot of you guys are going to want to get this done. So I'm excited to bring it to light to you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a test assistant here completely out of the blue. And we are going to then match that assistant to an automation on Go High Level. So that way you guys are able to see how to even build this out entirely. Right. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and let's see if I can actually choose one that has a template here. Let's see if I can just go ahead and import one real quick. We'll use agent, and then if you guys didn't know, you could actually just import agents here, which is something pretty crucial. Let's just do Lead reactivation. I want to do one with lead reactivation for you guys. Let's see. If not, we'll just create one from scratch, which is fine. Let's just do this one right here. Buyer lead capture. Alrighty. There it is. It seems to be imported now. Let's go ahead and refresh. There it is. Check that prompt out. Oh, this is actually pretty good. Yeah, this is pretty good. Awesome. So this is for a lead that basically comes in for buying or renting, and we want to basically nurture them, whether it's using voice AI, using all these three SMS and email combined. Now, I want to make sure that you guys also know the latest features that have been added as well to Synthflow, because that's very important to us that you guys are aware of these. So, of course, you guys already know the usual AI models. We're currently using 2.0 only. We're going to be removing version 1.0 pretty soon. There was an announcement on that you guys should know. Um, let's go over to the voices here real quick. Now, a couple of good voices here. I'm going to use one of my favorite voices, which is called Lucian. And within here, you guys are able to use the best settings for Lucian. Let's go ahead and set those up. Fast. Then we can go over to call configuration. There's not much that has changed here. Do keep in mind that the main thing of the new features that has come across the table recently has been the call transferring feature, which is allowing you to be able to warm transfer users. So that's been an amazing feature that has recently been added. So just keep in mind, you want to make sure that you use that. Another feature that we've come across that has also been implemented has been noise cancellation. So it removes background noises. I currently actually have a mic set up. This I think the best representation of this is showing you guys. So I have a crisp microphone right now on me. So this way, if I clap, you guys aren't able to hear the claps as much. I don't think. I hope I didn't make a fool of myself. If I don't have it connected, but you shouldn't be able to hear the claps whenever you have crisp on, which means it reduces the background noise greatly. So I do recommend for you guys to be able to keep this over in either I would say advanced, which is where I use it the most, or you can just keep it in standard, however you would like. Right. So just do keep that in mind. Alrighty, perfect. I heard nothing. Perfect. All right, awesome. As long as you can't hear my claps, that means it's working. What are the highest quality voices right now? Fastest response time, best experience for the end customer. Yeah, all that good stuff. So I'm actually going to show you because I have a list that you guys can use here, which is going to be pretty beneficial for you guys. I already gave you guys this list, but for those of you who don't have it, here's a list. I'm going to put it in the chat. For the ones that joined this webinar are the only ones that can actually see this list. So I'm going to put it in the chat. You guys are going to be able to have some of the best voices that I currently have. And yeah, you're gonna be able to experience the good stuff. I think that should be the one. Awesome. Perfect. So let's go ahead and go straight into the agent itself. As you guys can see, I haven't really touched the prompt itself. What I want to do is I want to see if I can connect something here. Let's use one of these phone numbers. And this should be set to call my number. But we're just going to do a test as soon as we get this up. Okay, perfect. So let's just go ahead and give it a quick test. As you guys know, I haven't made any changes to this assistant at all. I don't know how it sounds like. I don't know anything about it. Right. So let's go ahead and have it go through. If not, we're going to be going over a little bit of the prompt mainly. All right. Because if not, I'll just go through the prompt. I think the geo permissions aren't enabled for me right now. Yeah, they're not enabled. for this Twilio sub account, so no worries. We'll do this in just a sec. Let's first go ahead and run over the build first, so you guys know exactly what's going on here first. So the build out, right? Let's go ahead and go over the. I want to go over the inbound one first. So I'm gonna have to create an inbound one, which I believe I've already done over here. Let's do Jessica. No, form to call. Yep. Post call, pre-transfer call. Just want to get the best one for you guys. I'll do 1.0. I'll create it actually. All right, let's go ahead and start this from scratch so you guys are able to see each and every step of the way. So when you're starting one from scratch, just do keep in mind that you don't really need the info extractors. What the only thing that you do need is just to make sure that you have the clear guidelines of when the call is going to take place, if it's going to be during business hours, if it can check D&D, and all that good stuff. So in order for us to have that happen, what we're going to do is we're first going to add a wait time, which is going to identify business hours. So let's do 9 to 5 here. So this is going to be business hours, 9 to 5 p.m. And then in here, after this, what we're going to do is keep in mind you're going to manually put leads, especially if you're doing a lead reactivation, you're going to manually put leads in here. And this would pretty much go ahead and run it through here. So you're going to, I'll explain that in just a sec in detail. But let's go ahead and add the D&D. So we're going to do an if else. And this is going to check whether the contact has not wanted to be contacted again or not. All right, so let's go ahead and add that tag in there. Contacts tag includes DND. Well, actually, we'll do does not include DND. And then here we'll add a tag that has DND. All right, we'll keep it pretty simple. So here we're checking if they have DND or not, and we're gonna get into the nitty gritty of when we added this DND as well. Okay, we'll save it for now. Now from here, keep in mind that you have to add a drip mode before sending out a call. All right, so in order to be able to add this drip mode correctly, you want to make sure that you send out at least 10 calls every 1 minute. You don't want to immediately put or run a huge batch into this workflow that would cause it to have problems, right? If you run too many workflows, this means that you're going to have, let's see if I can show you guys here. Synthflow. You're going to have concurrency call limits, which keep in mind each of your plans has a total amount of concurrent calls. Concurrent calls meaning how many calls you can run at the same time, right? So if you have the pro plan, you can only run 25 calls at the same time. It doesn't mean launching 25 calls. You can launch as many calls as you want because we're launching 10 per minute, but 25 calls happening at the same time. All right. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So that's why we use this strip mode here. And keep in mind, this same workflow can be done with Zapier, Make, N8N. I just personally prefer Go High Level, but let's move on to the next step. So the next step is going to be actually making the call itself, right? So let's do call. So make a phone call here. This is the native action. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab the model ID. So in order to grab the model ID, you just go right here, model ID. You put that in there. Then you put the phone number of the person that you're going to be calling, which is going to be contact phone raw right here. Then the first name of the contact. And then, of course, you're going to add your API key on here. So in this case, I'll just add the custom value that I have for the API key right here. And that's going to be all you need. However, if you have, I don't think in this case I have one. Yeah, there's no variables. But if you do have a variable when you're sending out these calls, let's say it's lead name. you're going to see that there's a pop-up right here that's going to say lead name. So in order to be able to add this lead name variable, you're going to put it in the key here, and then you're going to put the value meaning what you want to replace this lead name during the prompt, right? And during the call, which is going to be, in this case, first name, right? So the lead's first name. Okay. So you can have that as is however you want. Let's go ahead and save that action. In this case, now that I think about it, we don't really need it because we don't have it in the prompt. So we'll save that there. And then here, I'm going to need, let's go ahead and add a, yep, this is going to be the nurturer. All right. So in this automation, you're going to also be able to nurture somebody. Okay. So do keep that in mind that whenever you make a call, you should add a math operation here that identifies how many calls you've made. Right. So in this case, it's going to be times called identifier, which can be a custom field created inside of Go High Level. And then you're going to add 1 to that. All right. So this times called identifier would then add a call there. And then from that, you can go ahead and identify it. So let's go ahead and do an if else, another if else. And in here, you're going to follow up with the user. So what are we going to do? In this case, we're going to be making follow up sequences. In order to be able to create those, you are going to need something similar to follow up 1, or sorry, follow up 2, which is going to identify. Let's go over to the contact here. Contact details times called identifier, and then equals to 1. Right? And then I can go ahead and duplicate this, equals to 2, and then this is going to be follow up 3. All right? So hopefully you guys understand this. I'm going to explain it in further detail right now. So how will this work? Okay? Once you make that first call, keep in mind that the user is going to run down here and it's going to add a math operation. And this math operation, it's going to say, okay, we've called this person once. All right. In this if else condition, we're going to identify, all right, how many times have we called this person? Oh, okay, 1 time. So that means we could send them over to the follow up, the second follow up. All right. So it's going to be this specific branch right here. But what if we want to follow up again? Right. Then that means we're going to send a follow up 3, which is when they're going to go down this branch again and they're going to add another one here, and they're going to land on the follow up 3 branch, which is then going to make another call. Okay. Now let's add that. Right. So let's do another make a phone call. Sorry. Another go to. My apologies. It'll be a go to. And then that go to is going to go above. Actually, not above that. It's going to go above the business hours because we want to make sure it's running during business hours. And then here, we're going to add a wait time. All right. So this wait time, let's say it's 6 hours. You want to call them 6 hours after. So we're going to run that 6 hours after, and then you're going to copy this exactly. And then let's say you want to call them 24 hours after that. So what does this do? This basically means if you add a contact through this workflow, let's name this initiate outbound calls. Whenever you add a contact through here, it's going to run through the business hours. It's going to check if they've been called before and they had like a D&D turned on. And then it's going to drip them 10 per minute. And then it's going to make that phone call right here. And once you make that phone call, there's going to be an addition. Like, okay, we've called this person once, right? We're going to add it. We're going to add +1 onto their times called identifier, which is the amount of times they've been called. And then in here, in this condition, we are going to identify the amount of times they've been called, right? So let's say, for example, they've been called twice. That means that they have ran through follow up 1, which is the first call, and then follow up 2, which it sent it back up here, and then ran through the whole thing again, and then landed here, which is where we identify the 2. From here, you're then going to add that follow up. It's going to go down this follow up 3 branch, which is then going to wait 24 hours, and then it's going to send it back up here to make another call. All right. Guys, let me know if you guys have any questions in the chat. Keep in mind that if there's anything that you guys have doubts with, it's very good for you guys to ask right now since you have me on basically to go right here. So you have me on call. So just make sure to ask all your questions as you can, and I'll go through them as soon as I finish through the workflows. All right. So from here, right, let's say you run through the follow up 3, right, and it sends it up here, and then it does the call again. It adds a math operation, and then here it identifies, okay, wait, we already ran through the first call, the second call. There is no third call. What does that mean? That basically means that it's just going to end the automation that you can see right here. It's going to end the automation for that specific contact. All right. Once you do that, and it ends the automation, keep in mind that it's going to store every single call from that user. Now, how is it going to store every single call? Keep in mind, whenever you send the call over to Synthflow, Synthflow is going to be able to have a conversation with the user, obviously, and then you're going to plug in a webhook here to store each and every single information uh, or info extractor or information from each call. All right. How are we going to do that? This is another workflow right here that you can see. Now, in this workflow, you are going to make the trigger an inbound webhook. All right. Meaning you're going to copy this right here. So this trigger, you're just going to go ahead, look this up, inbound webhook, click on this, and then you're going to copy this trigger right here, this URL. You're going to then paste it here and initialize the action. You can see it initialized right there. Once you initialize the action, you're then going to map the reference, right? This new one just popped up. As you can see, it's 14:23. That's literally the exact time that is right now, all right? You click on that. You save the trigger. You save the workflow. And in here, I've already created a preset workflow that you guys can go through. All right. So in this case, I'll just do the new way that they're doing it right now and move all this. Go to. All right, here. You're going to attempt to find a contact using the contact's phone number. All right. If they've already, this means that if you've already had a conversation with this contact before, keep in mind that you are going to be able to just grab their phone number and find them in the system. All right. How do you find this? Well, this is the inbound webhook trigger that we created, which means that all you need to do is go over to inbound webhook trigger, lead, phone number, and it should be on there. All right. That's how you find a contact. If a contact was found, then perfect. All you need to do is update the contact information, which is right here, right? Which you guys can, adjust yourself. In this case, I'm only adding the call ID, recording, and transcript. All right, so we can save that. But if the contact was not found, that means you need to create a contact, right? Which you can create a contact using the contact's first name, last name, and phone number. Now, how is this connected over to the contact to the caller itself? Well, that's when you're going to be making some info extractors. All right. Meaning, if you have an info extractor here that was created specifically for the first name and last name, then you are able to connect it in here, right? First name, this is the info extractor name, and last name, this is the info extractor name here as well. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and reconnect. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Now, once you go through that whole thing, we're not going to be discussing this portion right here. We're going to be discussing this portion, right? Because you guys want to be able to know how to send SMSs, emails, all that stuff. Okay. So once you update the contact and you have everything on there, we're going to then identify if the call was completed, if it was failed, if they hung up on voicemail. if they didn't answer the call, or if they were busy. All right. Which is where you're going to go down this path. And in here, you're going to have a voicemail counter. Okay. This voicemail counter can definitely vary. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have you guys understand how to work the workflow entirely. So I'm going to start from scratch and I'm going to make an SMS, right? So let's say this SMS says something like, "Hey, first name, uh, I just tried to call you, but I wasn't able to reach you. Uh, would you be able to give me a call back?" Question mark. And now here, once you do that, you can add a wait time. All right. And let's say this wait time is going to be specifically for that contact reply. So they replied to that first SMS. And then we can add a timer here for if they don't reply in, let's say, 24 hours, we send them another message. Okay, so if they reply, let's just say if they do reply, what you're going to want to do is check. Let's do an if else here again. You're going to want to go down here and click on contact reply. And then let's say it's intent type positive, which means sure, they wanted to be called back. Or sure, I can call you back in just a second. Whatever it is, you can put it down here. All right. So this is positive. Let's name them. Positive reply. Negative reply. We save that there. And within here, you are basically going to have two options, right? You can either do something about this or you don't need to do anything and they will call you back. All right. Which, by the way, when you set up a callback phone number or you tell people to call you back, you need to make sure that you also have an inbound voice AI assistant created within Synthflow. So that way you can receive that call that they're calling you back from. All right. Now, in here, once you get that going, let's say they don't reply, right? After 24 hours, you try, and they just completely ignore you. Let's say now you can send an email. All right. And in that email, you can name it whatever you want, really. Uh, let's just do follow up, whatever. You guys can put a subject line and you can put a follow up message here. But let's say it's something that relates to, um, hey, would you like to give, would you like for me to give you a call back? Now, obviously, as you guys already know, this is pretty much gonna suck when it comes to actually making a good follow-up. This is not really a good follow-up. You guys can make up your own follow-ups. This is just an example. But let's say we go with that route, right? And we wait here again. We're gonna add another wait step, and we're going to wait for the contact reply for the email, right? So we're gonna identify whether they replied back to the email or not, which we can then add another timeout of 48 hours, 2 days. Okay? We can then go ahead and copy this action right here, do the same exact thing. So the intent reply, and let's say they replied positively. Okay? This is how you guys are going to be able to bring it back to the assistant. So if they reply positively, let's say for some odd reason, right? Or not odd reason. So for some reason you say uh reply back yes if you'd like for me to call you back. Whatever it is, right? Save that action. In here, if they replied with a positive intent, yes, you are then going to have this assistant launch another call. Now you're going to launch another call by doing the following. you can just go ahead and make a phone call here, which would then require you to add the same variables that you had on the last one. So let's go ahead and add those. There we go. You guys see how this is all tying together? It's all in the way that you craft the workflow on how you can actually, simulate these type of practices. Now let's say one last one, right? Let's just do one last one. Let's say they don't reply to you, all right? Again, what we're going to do is we're going to drop a voicemail this time. We can do something simple like this. Yeah. So that's kind of like a follow up right there. So you're going to put a voicemail this time. And now that's where you're going to leave it. You're just going to leave a voicemail there. Say something like, "Hey, we've been trying to reach you over and over again, and it doesn't seem like we were able to get in touch with you. Whenever you get the chance, this is the last time I'm contacting you. Just give me a call back." All right. And then that is going to prompt the person for a last final attempt to be like, "Okay, I'm gonna give this guy a call back. He's been really trying to get on the phone with me, and so on and so forth. It doesn't seem like I can get this to happen. I'm just gonna go ahead and have this. I'm just gonna go ahead and give him a call back, right? Just to put it simply. Now, we obviously don't want this running over and over and over again. Every single time that somebody reaches voicemail, that's gonna be that's gonna be a hassle. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a tag, right? And this tag is going to say um, SMS, email, voicemail activated. And then here we're going to add an if else. And this if else is going to be, uh, yeah, outreach. Let's do outreach activated. Okay. And then we're going to go to contact details and we're going to check the tags. And in here, we're going to include the tag SMS, email, voicemail activated. All right. Now, if they have that activated, then let's go ahead and do this. Let's do not activated for this branch below. Not activated. Obviously, if it's not activated, we want to activate it, right? Pretty put simply. But if it's already activated and it's already going, let's not do this. Let's not reach out to them, the SMS, email, all that stuff. There's no need for you to do that. Okay? So that is how you guys are going to be able to have a very successful lead reactivation campaign, right? And guys, I've been doing this for, let me go ahead and stop sharing here. I've been doing this for a while now. I've been having a lot of time, right, dedicated to specifically this. I trust me when I tell you these are the best of the best ways that you guys are able to get results using voice AI. I want you guys to get results at the end of the day. That's my main goal. That's why I do these webinars every single week for you guys. All right. So, in order to be able to get you guys to that point of being successful with voice AI, I need to show you guys the right ways to do it. Okay. Now, if there's anything that I could do better with my webinars, obviously let me know, and I will make sure that I can do better each and every single time. But with that being said, let's go ahead and go over some questions, right? All right. So first off, is that a Synthflow workflow interface? No, that was a Go High Level workflow interface. This is all the Synthflow stuff. Synthflow is made specifically to launch the calls itself. All right. Uh, Country Club, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And let's go over a little bit about what I can do for you guys now, right? So now that I have you guys here, I want you guys to understand that there are two things that you guys can do to be able to get a lot of support for Synthflow. All right. So the first thing is going to be this right here. I want to share it with you guys. No worries, Jerome. Sorry about that. So I know some of these automations might get a little bit confusing. I try to go slow. I know I sometimes I tend to go a little bit too fast. Good thing these meetings are recorded, so you can just go ahead and go back into these, and do all these workflows. Okay, so I want to show you guys two ways of you guys being able to get the support that you guys need. So one way is obviously leveraging the community that we have for you guys at Synthflow, which is going to give you all of these benefits. It's going to be able to give you a solid community that not only will help you out with some of the tickets that you guys may have, but I personally chose one of the guys here that's managing the community who's always active here helping everybody out. His name's Danny Ricalde. He will basically go in. If you have any doubts, make sure to post them in this chat right here. We want to make this chat as lively as possible, right? If you guys have anything that you guys need help with or anything that you guys even want to talk about, make sure that you add it onto this chat. This is going to be where everything happens. All right. Now, another thing, this is the first thing that I mentioned. The second thing that I mentioned is going to be the fact that I also have my own community, which shows you guys how to be successful as a voice AI agency. All right. So do keep that in mind that if you do want to join, I'm going to drop the link down below where it's going to have you fill out that form. And in that form, you guys are going to be able to see pretty much how a voice AI experience works, right? So let's go ahead and say, for example, you do fill out the form. There should be a voice AI that calls you. And then once that voice AI calls you, it could either book you into a meeting. And then, of course, it's going to then prompt you over to my community. And in my community, there's around 483 people that are in there. They're active. They want to make sure that they become a successful voice AI agency, which is what I help with. And now in here, just so you guys understand, all these things that I'm discussing, everything that I'm putting out there, I've set it up into snapshots you guys are capable of using. So this basically means everything that I've talked about today more than likely has already been put into a snapshot inside of my agency or my community, sorry. Not only that, you guys can also have private conversations with me all the time. I have conversations with you guys every single day, as you guys can see. So make sure to join. There's updates on everything here of new videos that have been coming out for my YouTube. All of the things that you guys need to know is going to be in here as well. Right? So join up. You guys are definitely going to be able to get a lot of benefits. Not to mention, I have free courses on how to use Synthflow for everything. There's so many courses in here. And then if you guys ever do want, right, there's also an academy right here that you guys are going to be able to join by being able to join right here, right, using this link right here. All right. But with that being said, that is pretty much everything that I want to share with you guys. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Let's see. Okay, so how do we integrate our Twilio number or add credit minutes to the phone number? Yeah, so if you want to be able to integrate your Twilio number, what you're going to be able to do is this. I'll go ahead and show you right now. You're going to go over to Synthflow. You're going to go over to integrations here. And you're going to go to Twilio right here, which is where you're going to put your account SID and your authentication token. Now, in that authentication token and SID, that's going to connect your phone numbers on Twilio over to Synthflow. Synthflow recommends this. And not only that, Synthflow also supports, their own phone numbers. We also have internal phone numbers that you guys are able to use. Okay? Now, let's go over once. Thank you, Jerome. I appreciate it. Yeah, looking forward to having you in the community and, rewatching, this. So how do we get AI recordings to populate and go high-level conversations when doing outbound calls? Yeah, so that's more of like an intricate question. If you want, you can join the community and ask me there. In order to be able to get that to happen, I think you need API. So that's more of like a complicated case scenario. However, what you can do is you can just add the call recording onto the call notes of that contact, or you can add it onto the custom field and have it in an opportunity pipeline stage. So hopefully that answers your question, Elite. But if you want to go more into depth, just message me and we can go into it. Of course, Harris, happy to help. And of course, Otto, always happy to help as well. But yeah, guys, with that being said, definitely join up. I'm looking forward to having you guys in there. You're more than likely going to be accepted on there, but I do make sure that I check everybody that goes in because I want to see, quality people that join in there. Not just everybody gets accepted. So do keep that in mind. There's one more question here that I see. I may have missed this. Is the workflow you made available to download, or is this video available to replay? Yes, the video is available to replay, and more than likely, the workflow that I just made is available to download once you join my community and go into the classrooms. So around here, okay. So do keep that in mind. All right. All right. I like the question. So we use Zapier to connect with HubSpot and Synthflow. Is it still the best way to integrate with SMS feature? Yeah, if you want to be able to connect to your Zapier with the SMS feature, you're definitely going to be able to, have that connection made. I think you can just go ahead and contact Twilio. Like you can have an API call on Zapier, call Twilio to send an SMS. That's how you're able to send SMSs over there. Hopefully that answers your question, Jerome. Any recommendations for phone numbers that can send SMS? Synthflow numbers can text. Our Twilio number needs to get registered, but I wanted a quick option for testing. That's a good question. Synthflow numbers, I don't have a clear answer on that. If they can just send text messages like that, you could test it out. I'd say it's best for you to test it out before going into and doing anything like this. Uh, my immediate response is probably no. They probably don't do the A to P, uh, but maybe they do, and maybe I'm wrong. Um, but the safe route would just be creating a Twilio account and then registering for A to P, which allows you to send out text messages. Yes, the links are pinned, Otto. I'll drop it again though. Hold on. So once again, that in the chat is the link to be able to join the community. And keep in mind that you guys will be able to have this right here. This link is even better than all the other links because you're going to have all the information that you need to be able to get in contact with me. Um, you will also have everything related to my school community as well as my YouTube content. And even if you want to book in a meeting with my implementation team and you want to, let's say, get these build outs done for yourself, just go ahead and click on this and you can book a time in for a calendar. And that should be good. Alrighty. Perfect. Okay, I don't see any more questions. So I think we should be good. Thank you guys so much for coming and joining in on a Friday afternoon. I know it's a little bit exciting now that it's the weekend. So I hope you guys have a great weekend ahead of you guys. And yes, I will be seeing you guys very soon. And yeah, let's take it from here. Thank you guys. Peace out.